Good evening, everyone. My name is Shreejita Basu, and I'm from India. And I finished my PhD last year in water resources engineering. And I was quite interested into comparing different types of nonprofits, and the best place was Oregon for it. And just to clarify, this picture is not from India. It is the Walava Lake in Oregon. So let's see where India is located. So India lies in South Asia, and it is 1/3 the size of the United States and about 13 times larger than Oregon. Unfortunately, we are the second most populated country in the world, but on a brighter note, we do see more days of sunshine as compared to the Pacific Northwest. So like United States, India is divided into 29 different states, and each state has a different dialect. So we speak more than 30 languages. And to look into forest ownership, the forests in India, 86% is public forest that is owned by the state government or the federal government, and more than half of these are either protected or into reserve forests, and the rest are split into social forests, which the communities use for their livelihoods, or into plantations, because India is an agricultural economy. And the rest 14% is private for tribal communities. So I come from New Delhi, that is the capital of India. Now, due to rapid industrialization and economic growth, a country like India is facing many serious environmental challenges. Due to growing population and changing precipitation patterns throughout the country, we are experiencing some great events of consecutive events of drought and flood throughout the country. And due to the land use change, because India is an agricultural economy, as I mentioned. So we are cutting down our forests and changing to agricultural lands, which is leading to biodiversity loss. And all this is leading to a great water crisis, like I mentioned. So the big question is how, like a country like India, can build capacity development skills to meet these challenges? And the answer lies in my next slide. The solution is through the partnership and collaboration of these three sectors: the public sector, the private sector, and the nonprofit sector. And this is what I wanted to learn as a fellow here at the World Forest Institute. So to look deeper into the nonprofit sector, I wanted to learn the role of nonprofits in natural resources management and the partnership between the government and the nonprofit sector, and learn some innovative funding models which I can use for India. Through field trips, study speaker series, lectures, and one-on-one meetings with people helped me answer these important questions. So Oregon has different types of natural resources nonprofits, and the state of the fact that 34% of Oregonians volunteer in the community, which is 10th largest in America. So I wanted to look deeper into three different types of nonprofits, being the trust, the council, and social corporation. So my next slides will talk about these. So to begin with, I wanted to see what are the main funding sources in the nonprofits in Oregon. So the major funding sources is through grants, which come from private foundations or the government, or through planned giving from endowments and philanthropy, which is very important. Or these nonprofits have fundraising events to raise their budget. Or through stewardship, that is the friendship between the donors. Or an interesting third type was the for-profit enterprise attached to a nonprofit, which is very unique and missing in India. So let's see how a land trust works. So a land trust is a type of nonprofit that actively conserves land by using one of the tools like a conservation easement. So a piece of land can have multiple rights, and one of these rights can be bought by a land trust from a private landowner to have some certain values of conservation values. And India, being in the middle of land use change, can use one of these conservation easement as an important tool to save the lands. We saw an example of Columbia Land Trust, who is protecting 20,000 acres of land near Mount St. Helens using restoration forestry. And I felt this is an excellent example for a country like India. The second important type which can be used for my country was Watershed Councils. So this is the structure of how the Watershed Councils work. Through the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board, which is a state agency that brings in funds from the lottery funds or through the federal funds from the Oregon Salmon Recovery Funds. And this agency gives different types of grants to the nonprofit, which is the network of Watershed Council that manages 90 local watershed councils throughout Oregon. So the main aim is to maintain healthy watershed, which directly gives back the quality of surface and groundwater which we need in my country. And not only this benefits the habitat and communities through covert replacement or protecting endangered species, it binds the local community and the feeling to their particular watershed. The third unique type which I mentioned was the social corporation, and an example of which we saw during our field trip to Le Grand, the Walava resources. So through the integrated biomass campus, their stewardship is making a perfect example to have economic development with environmental benefits. So this integrated biomass campus uses small diameter logs and makes energy which is used to heat schools and homes. And this brought back the jobs to the county which they lost during this, when the sawmills had shut down. So this is a very good example because in India, 50% of population still lives in the rural areas. So some important take-home messages can be summarized by my last slide, which can be either environment, social, or economic, be it sustainable forest management through the concept of working forest or watershed protection through the watershed councils, or the public and private partnerships, which is extremely important between the non-profit sector and the government sector. And all this leads to the economic benefit, which brings back the jobs to the economy. And I can use some innovative funding models for my country. And I would like to end my presentation with this picture of the Willamette River, which had immense amount of environmental degradation in the 1960s. And this is what the Willamette River looks now, and this was only possible because of the environmental activism which the Oregonians showed. And this is the picture of Ganga now, which is heavily polluted, and we don't have that amount of good sewage treatment plants. And I hope that what I learned today I can apply to clean the river Ganga. Thank you.